So just to start off, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to go ahead and do this. I know I say this to every band, but it truly means the absolute world to me. I know a lot of people are struggling with trying to do anything nowadays, as I call the worldwide happy fun time. It's like a gigantic Japanese game show that is taking over the world. Also very, very ironic because all of us hate it with a passion. But, you know, with that being said, that's not stopping bands and artists from creating music, which is another reason why I am doing this. But, yeah, seriously, thank you guys for taking your time. I know, like I said, things are very busy with you. You got, you know, families to take care of and everything. You got your own lives to, you know, focus on. But the fact that you can take about roughly 2 hours to go ahead and do this does mean the world to me. Hopefully it's inspiring for you guys as well to continue on the work you do as well. But just so we can go ahead and get started, I'll have you guys one by one introduce yourselves, explain what you do in the band. It's just the most stereotypical thing I do to start off all sessions. And then from there, we'll go ahead and get started talking a little bit more about After the Calm.
My name is Cody Allen. I play drums in the bands.
My name is Logan, and I sing.
I'm Jonathan Hoppenmacher, and I do rhythm guitar.
Hank, Henry, and I do bass. David, and I do guitar.
You do guitar? I do guitar.
I do. Me guitar.
Yeah. All right. So, since we got everything together, so the first thing I normally do, or try my best to, is go ahead and re-listen to every single song on Spotify that you guys have.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
I managed to get through Home Sweet Home. I got through Stuck on Repeat, Porcelain, Captive, Greenway, Cups, Bloodline, False Idol, and I didn't get through. I got more than halfway through with Haste, and then I didn't get through Bragging Rights, or what is, how do you pronounce that?
Tierra
Buena. Yeah.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. But yeah, I got through a decent amount of your songs, so I am pretty well caught up to date here. Sometimes it's a little bit harder considering some bands have a ridiculous amount of music, and it's just really hard trying to listen through everything. But you guys managed to keep it easy. You have a lot of singles and everything, which makes life a lot easier trying to get through all your music. So I know you didn't do it for me personally, but thank you. I've been listening to you guys since you created that album back in 2016. That was the very first one I remember. I don't think I've actually ever listened to Valor, though. I know that was also still in 2016, but I know I didn't get close to that. So close. I was only 2 songs away from it. But if anyone who is watching and you want to listen to it, don't worry, I got your backs. Now, the one thing I am always curious about, obviously, you guys are labeled as, or I would imagine you guys label yourself as a pop punk band. Within respect. Obviously, you have a lot of different subgenres and influences that go into your music. Obviously, there's some metal in there based upon the guitar riffs, and definitely based upon the screaming in some of the songs too, which, by the way, thank you for doing that because it makes the music just that much better. Not all of your music needs screaming, note to a lot of bands. Not all of your songs need music if you decide to go a little bit harder, but that little bit for emotion works beautifully. But as far as that goes, was that the general idea for your band as a whole? Was it always the idea to keep it more of a pop punk band, or were there ever times where you thought, hey, maybe we want to go like even harder with our music?
I'll say this. There was a point, I think, a couple years ago where we kind of just told ourselves, like, we're done like trying to convince people that we're this band or this band because they're going to call us whatever, you know, they want, because music and genres itself are completely subjective. But I think from the beginning, because we all, like, our ages vary as well as our musical interests, and we know that like we like so many different types of music. But I think in the beginning we knew like we like the pop punk stuff, but we also like the heavier kind of stuff, you know. So we thought, you know, we have songs where we kind of lean to one side more than the other, and we have songs where we kind of mash them both together. So it was kind of always that idea that we wanted to not necessarily play to one certain sound. We wanted to, you know, expand and just try different things. And we're still to this day even trying that. You know, we're never going to write anything that we don't like, but we're always open to experimenting and trying new things. And if it feels natural to us, then, you know, it fits well and we come out some cool jams. So I think in pop punk and more kind of maybe post-hardcore, and, you know, even some of the newer stuff, just like even getting into like the alternative side of some more music.
Yeah, I would say when we first started, we actually had a different guitarist. I wasn't actually the guitarist, I was the bassist. And Dylan, he had a very pop punk / like Chunk Captain Chunk influence. I Day to Remember. That was what he started with. And I remember joining the band based off of some of the songs that he created. So I was like, oh, I like where this band is kind of going. I need to be in this. I want to be in this. So he didn't have a bassist. So I was like, well, I'll play bass. I never played bass. I wouldn't go buy a bass. I was a guitarist naturally. I was like, well, I'm going to go buy a bass. I'll figure this out. And then he went on his way and, you know, decided to go a different career path. And then that's when we got Hanky here to be bass. And then I filled in and became the guitarist. But it was like, when we first started, it definitely was more into that style of music, which is, like I said, A Day to Remember and Chunk Captain Chunk.
Listen to Valor, you'll hear the differences as the old line, more or less.
Yeah, because he was the one that created that particular sound in Valor.
Yeah.
And then ever since we did our EP, that was his transition out. And so some of those songs have his influences, and some of them are completely from this lineup. So it was a mixture, it was a hybrid. And I feel like that was when we were really trying to figure out how to make the music together.
Yeah.
And then now that we're like, we can do that, now it's kind of like, well, what do we want to play? And now it's just, we're not like looking for a genre, we're just saying, hey, we want to make good music, and that's it.
That's always the idea. You know, there's so many different bands that I've either worked with or technically interviewed that just never ended up going up in general in the past. But, you know, a lot of bands, they do get real. It's interesting you bring that up, because there's a lot of bands that do get stuck on, we're trying so hard to be this genre that they do end up kind of losing a little bit more of their overall, like, who they are as a band. They're like, you know, it's not a bad thing to be influenced by bands. Obviously, the main goal is to create your own specific sound. There are a lot of bands that do get caught up in it. I know, for example, when I first started playing music, I remember the first time I listened and really got into A Day to Remember, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to create something exactly like this. I'm like, I don't even care. And then it was funny because I was so obsessed at the time. I'd be like, all right, I need everything to, like, I need the guitars to sound like this particular way. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. The vocals need to be like, not obviously exactly the same, but like close to it. And then it's funny because I hope this happens for a lot of people too, but when you start getting older and you start really developing your music, you really start getting and gaining a more basic understanding of, I don't want to sound like this other band. There's so many other bands that try this. Like, it's cool to have an influence, but it's cooler to like have our own sound that no one else has. And one thing that I really do like about After the Calm is you guys managed to, over time, definitely been able to develop that. I can obviously tell that there was definitely some like A Day to Remember influence. Not saying that's a bad thing, because I love them. So that got me hooked. as far as your music goes, because like I said, the first one, I think the very first song I heard, yeah, it was Bloodline. Okay. It was interesting because you can hear a little bit of like the, your influences and everything that you guys listen to. But I think with the guitar patterns and everything, and I think it's also the way it's produced and the way the vocals come in, completely cut out everything A Day to Remember, which is really, really good because the vocals, they fluctuate in a manner that I don't typically hear, and it stands out very, very well. I can definitely hear a huge progression from Bloodline up to the new single you guys released, or Home Sweet Home. You've definitely figured out where you wanted to be on your vocal range. After hearing back, you already figured out. You're like, yeah, this sounded cool, but like, this is better. And it's nice, and I know I've said this so many times to a lot of bands, but it's so nice hearing vocalists finally figure out where they want to be. They're like, all right, the highs aren't working for me, but these lows aren't working either. Where can I be in the in-between that doesn't hurt my voice, it doesn't put any strain on your vocal cords? And it's a lot more fluid. It's definitely a lot more, I think it's also fluid in a sense in the fluctuation of your voice when you hit different pitches. So kudos to you, because my God, I still struggle with that. As much as I think that I've improved in my vocals, I know I still have a long way to go. I know as artists in general, we tend to beat ourselves up and be like, no, this, like, it was all right. But that's all we give ourselves, is it's an all right song. I don't know. I kind of want you guys a little opinion, a little bit more as far as where you guys started as a band in general. Like, do you agree with the fact that you've definitely seen like a step up in all of your games as far as the guitar riffs, as far as working together as a band? Do you definitely hear more of a progression in where your music is finally kind of like, it's always like a step up from the last time you created a song?
Yeah, for me particularly, I think hearing our first, 'cause I go back to our old songs and listen to our new ones as comparisons and stuff like that all the time. And we definitely feel like, or I feel that we hit our stride. Like it's always, whenever you start a band, you got to find your musical chemistry.
Yeah.
You got to kind of figure out, hey, how am I going to make music with these guys? And when are we going to get to the point where they just know that, the things that I'm doing, I know what they're doing, and we can just make songs very easily. Versus, hey, I have this little tiny riff, and let's spend 5 hours to try to even come up with one piece of a song. Like, and that used to be the case. When we first started together, it was like struggling on some pieces, and now that's not the case at all. It's more like, hey, how do we want to like change the mood of this? We're more at that point now, where I think before we were so much more on the, is this a verse? Is this a chorus? And how do we decide on how many times do we hit this chorus, more verse, or, like we didn't even know any of that stuff. And working with our producers, they've definitely helped us along the way. Like, I give them 100% credit on upping our game, because they're there to kind of, come from the outside and tell us what they think the song needs. You know what I mean? And then you go that back and forth and you build from there. And then I feel ever since our first time ever working with Corey Spots, that guy he's a master in engineering. Like he can pick little sounds and things that we just could never ever like think in our heads that is something that we be worrying about. And he showed us how to do guitar techniques. Like, I feel like I upped my guitar game in the terms of how I tune, how I strum the guitar, how I try to hear like the little notes, make sure everything rings out right. So kudos and credit to all of our producers that we've ever worked with. They've definitely upgraded. But that's my perspective.
And it's funny actually too, because when you were talking about Valor and that being like the first song we ever created as a band and put out, and Home Sweet Home being the most recent single, both of those were done by Corey. So it is kind of like you get like a full comparison from like 5 years ago to, now. But
Oh, yeah.
kind of going off of what David said, I think we just became better songwriters. Before, like I said, like when it came down to like the genres and stuff like that, we were always maybe going into like, is this one a pop punk song or is this one a heavy song? And then like we had to like sit ourselves down and be like, we need to stop saying that because it's like the second that we say that, we've already created our boundary, our box, like that we can't escape from, So and then like he said, talking to producers, and we've gotten to work with a lot of great people, even with Matt Good, David Nunez, and most recently Ryan Jamieson. So, and every single time that we go into something new, whether it be in the studio or doing a music video or working with somebody, our minds are like sponges, and we're always trying to like soak up as much info and just as much knowledge as we can. If we don't know something at first and we go through the trial of it, we try to see if afterwards, okay, can we do this on our own now? And just build from that. But we started thinking about, instead of genres, what do we want to do with this song? Do we want people moving around? Do we want people singing along? Do we want participation? Really just breaking it down to like the nitty gritty of it. I mean, we've had songs that are even released where if you look at the very first, I guess, demo of it, or when we first kind of got the structure of it, it's almost like night and day for some songs, because we'll go in and completely just rip apart and just restructure everything. I think Greenway was a big one, and that was with Corey as well. And that was, I think, the beginning of that whole thought process with the structure. He like talked to us and said, it's a good song, but this is a single. You're not doing a record. If you're doing a single, it needs to be just to the point, quick, catchy song. So we kind of rewrote a little bit, took out some parts, changed a little parts, and I mean, it's still to this day a fan favorite and so much fun to play live. So I think even from now, from Home Sweet Home to even like the future music that we want to work on and put out, there's already that step up, of evolution that we want to take. We're always trying to expand our, I guess our talents as not only as like our individual parts in the band, but just as a unit and as musicians.
Yeah, definitely. Because like we mentioned before as well, I kind of want to go back and address on a little bit. The last time before we got started recording, we did talk about just for a split second that the last time we actually were able to be at the same show together was up in Prescott Valley. Now, I still remember that show all too well. I mean, I still have every single photo I've ever taken from up there as well. Out of curiosity, do you guys know if that venue is still up and running? Or like before all of this happened?
No idea.
Because I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't heard anything from Danny at all. So I was just like, it was a cool venue. I really loved being able to go up there. I had plenty of room. I kind of wish the stage was a little bit larger for you guys. That stage was kind of small from what I remember. And I remember while you were singing, there was a couple of times I saw you kind of looking down, making sure you weren't going to like fall off the stage and stuff. But it was
our box too. So I was like,
yeah, you did have your the box you stand on. Oh man, that was so funny because I think that was the it was like one day was like all punk and the other day was like all metal, I believe.
So we were on the punk one, right? Yeah, we were on the punk one.
I'm trying to remember how many bands were on that. We had a decent amount of
There was
bands.
like right?
There was a lot.
We didn't even go on to like almost close to midnight.
Yeah.
It was late by the time we
Yeah, all of us were just beyond exhausted. I saw the looks on your guys' faces. You're like, we want to play, but oh my god, we much rather sleep right now. Which I get, because I mean, I was hanging out at Danny's place. I think he moved, but before he moved, I remember crashing at his place because he had me there for the 2 solid days just taking photos of the events. And I remember I was so unbelievably exhausted, and I couldn't even imagine like how you guys felt either, being like one of the You guys were the very last band to play, weren't
We
you?
were the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys hit past like towards like midnight, and I remember we got the cops called on us too.
Because we had to go to Walmart and get you medicine. Because Cody was like, we got out there, but he was like deathly sick out of nowhere.
Oh,
And
geez.
then I had my girlfriend at the time, wife now, and she was pregnant at that time, and she started getting sick up there. So it's just like it was a long, crazy day, but we got to meet a lot of new people, and it was fun.
Yeah, I actually got sick on the way back down.
Oh my God.
My ears. Well, you decided like we're gonna drive anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm getting sick, and my ears are getting
The elevation.
the elevation. But the thing is like they didn't pop for like a good 6 hours.
Oh,
So all I heard was muffled sound for a good 6 hours. And yeah, it sucked, man. It sucked.
Yeah, that sounds awful. My God. It's just like all three of you guys are just like everybody's getting sick. Like maybe we actually like should take this like and go home. Man, that's insane. Yeah, because you guys were on late. There was a lot of people there for you too. I remember that. You guys brought in a really good crowd. I know there's a ton of people, in the circle pit moshing and stuff. I remember, for some reason, I remember like a little kid in like the center too, just running around in circles.
I think if it wasn't one of the kids over there, it might have been Hanky's.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was probably
Oh, okay, it's possible.
He's a big fan of the band, and I think even sometimes like at the time, because we didn't have a lot of material out at that time, I think we just had the EP and then like Valor, and that's about it. But he loved Valor, so he'd always love to like come up and like he's not the very sing along kind of song.
I think that was because you had him come up on stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I can't recall if he was actually singing or not, but my mind wants to believe that he really was. Because I remember you picked him up and stuff, and like had him like it was kind of like a Lion King moment almost. But yeah, that was a really cool show. It sucks that you guys got like sick and stuff, and I didn't know. Probably also explains why you guys left fairly shortly after that too. Because I remember at the time I wanted to hang out with you guys a little bit more, and I was like, "The hell they go?" And then I was like, "All right, well, either they got their families to take care of, or somebody got sick." Because those are normally two things that would be on my mind. But speaking of shows and stuff like that, I always love to have bands kind of go down memory lane and try to remember some of the more of like highlights for shows and stuff like that, because that's what musicians live for. We live to be on stage, we live to entertain, and we also live to make money. But as far as I remember trying to book shows for a while for my business, and the one thing I remember that actually stood out, actually before I get a little bit further into what I was about to say, I remember I was looking for some bands to play a punk show, and I think it was like a last minute show. And I was definitely, what was that back in? I think that was 2000, was it? Either 18 or 19. I know it wasn't too long, but I want to say it was probably early 2019 when I really got started booking shows a little bit more, I think. And I knew I was still like new to it, and I didn't know all the bands properly. I know I was still getting to know you guys a little bit better. And I remember one specific comment, it completely threw me off guard. And I was trying to book a last minute show. I don't remember who the band were that played. And I was trying to book for the Timeout Lounge. And I remember trying to shoot you guys a message because someone referred me over to you. And I was like, okay, so I went ahead and listened to your music. And I'm like, oh, they're really good. Yeah, they would be perfect. And then I remember sending you a message, be like, hey, would you guys be interested in playing a show? I know I got a response back saying, like it was a last minute show. They're like, well, where's the show at? I'm like, Timeout Lounge. And I remember one of you guys saying, we don't play at like smaller venues like that anymore. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh shit, is this band a lot larger than like I think they are? And then like I had to go back and I'm like, oh god, I'm like, did I just like almost like diss like a really well-known band? I had no idea at the time. And then, you know, I realized how much larger you guys were during that time too. And you guys played like a lot larger venues, because I know you played plenty at Pub Rock, you played plenty at Club Red and stuff, which I know they take very seriously, and it's a lot of money, and you do really well out there. And then I saw you guys mainly playing like larger venues, and I was just like, oh shit. I'm like, I really hope I hope they didn't see that as like an insult, be like, oh, like we're like one of these like last minute bands. And I was just like, oh crap. I did kind of feel that way, but I know as time went on, that's not what you guys meant.
Yeah, honestly, I think
I knew you guys were being sincere afterwards. It was just me being paranoid, because I was just like, I don't want to like be that person. And I know some people do take that a little bit more serious, which I can understand. If you're becoming more well known and you're trying to build yourself up, business wise, it wouldn't make sense for you to play a last minute show at a smaller venue that might have their PA system working that day. It wouldn't make sense.
And I would say it's probably more either me or David that probably sent that. And we're actually going to make a YouTube video about it, but right now there's not really shows going on.
Yeah.
But normally we just try and do quality a lot. So we do like shows every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So for us, we try and just, just do bigger shows and just try and make sure that we have a lot of people there, instead of playing every week or two, when, every band can do what they want, like there's good benefits and drawbacks on each thing. But at that time, we're basically trying to, just every 2 or 3 months, hang out, a 300 to 500 cat venue.
Well,
and so yeah, I probably was one of our responses. But yeah,
and what's funny about that is like I'm actually looking back, and during that time that you're even speaking about, we were doing a lot of like the K&Z shows. We were doing we were doing a lot of
I started seeing a lot of those flyers.
Yeah, so we were like on pretty much nonstop on his shows. And the thing is, it was always, he has like rules about the whole,
3 weeks before and 3 weeks after the show, you have to keep open and stuff like that. But.
Yeah, so there was like all these things that we were going by. And then I remember when we talked about Timeout Lounge in general, we were like, by spacing everything out in terms of playing shows every 2 to 3 months, we kind of made sure that we would always be bringing more than 50 people. We would always, minimum would have been 50, but we always strive for more. We usually got in like the 80 to 100. So because of that, that's why we were like, well, if we're going to do a show, we're probably not going to do Timeout. We're going to probably do another show that most likely Zach was going to contact us again about.
And that makes 100% of sense. Like, I would completely agree with that too. Like I said, it's just at the time, I was just like, I might have just screwed something up here. I'm like, oh god, no.
You're good, no offense at all.
I learned that,
We try to not make it, we try to make it more business-like and not like, offensive to you at all either.
Just before I say anything else, how long has Home Sweet Home, like when was it released?
Just about almost 3 months, a little over 2 months.
Okay. The only reason why I said that is because in that short period of time, you guys already managed to surpass 29,016 plays on just that song on Spotify alone.
That's cool.
Nice.
So if you put that into like perspective, that is insane. In only 2 months, almost 30,000 people are just nonstop playing that song. And which, by the way, I just listened to it for the first time today, and I understand why there's 30,000 plays.
Thank you.
It's super cool because even like we've been keeping. I'm sure for like anybody who's in Spotify or like uses Spotify as an artist, being able to look at your like analytics and all that stuff through their their other website for the artist pages. It's so cool, like within like the past couple months since we've had to be active on there, looking at making sure that that song's getting on playlists and stuff like that. More than often when we load up like the website, it will show you if people are listening to you in that current moment, like on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I've opened it up and been like 3 people listening right now. John had said that he had gotten a screenshot one day because it said we had 10 people listening at one time.
Oh, geez.
That was a high moment for sure. I was like, screenshot.
Because like when we first did our Spotify, you know, you open that app, and of course, what you're going to be seeing is 0. You know, you're going to be constantly seeing that number, and then maybe one time when you open it up, you're like, "Oh, someone's listening," and then it goes back to 0, and you're like, that was nice."
Yeah, there's always that huge fluctuation. I think it's really interesting because normally for Spotify, and this is where I literally every interview ever that I've done, I use Spotify for everything. I mean, I mentioned this in the other interview. I mean, it hasn't been posted up yet. It's going up next week, hopefully, here, if I can get everything together. But I was mentioning to Skull Drug how using, and for anyone who does something similar to this for like interviews, I would actually highly recommend it to use Spotify for everything. I mean, you have all the songs there. You have all the album names, all the song names. You have the most popular, playlist. You have all the numbers. You have a decent amount of analytics, so you can see as not the band itself. Obviously, you guys get all the information, but you get all the years everything's been released. You get similar artists to you guys. Any update, upcoming concerts and events and stuff like that, and obviously you have your about page, and it is the most user-friendly and the most resourceful resource you could possibly use. Not sponsored by Spotify, but would love it.
Hey, you gotta get that. You gotta slide in behind Joe Rogan with that.
Yeah, seriously. Not sponsored, but sponsor me. That whole deal.
But I agree with you on Spotify. I think Spotify is, in my opinion, one of like the best places for new artist discovery.
Definitely.
Because you can like not only like you were saying, like they have similar artists, but they have like if you look up an artist and they have a radio or a playlist that's like curated of fans listening. And what's even cooler is a lot of it is very, like you said, user friendly and supernatural. If you're listening to an album by a band and you shuffle it and then finishes, it won't just stop. It starts on radio. It starts a playlist of similar artists. So it's like the music never stops, and it wants you to keep finding new artists. And when you find new artists, well, all of your playlists and your homepage is curated from who you listen to. So as you listen to more new artists, your list, expands and grows.
Yeah, and it definitely helps out a lot of different independent local artists too. Because I remember I was listening to. I mean, I know they're larger, but I've been really hooked on Trash Boat lately on their newer album. And I'm highly, highly addicted to that album. I've been listening to like nonstop for over a year now. And every time that album finishes, it just, since it's their very last album that was released, they always, Spotify's like, all right, well, other similar artists now. And then I listen to these bands and I'm like, how come I've never heard of them before? So you save them and you start getting hooked on them, and then they start making money. And speaking of money, if you guys are aware and if you guys keep up to date with everything, Spotify is now paying out a little bit more money for all your streams. So you guys used
I did see a big,
you guys used to make about 0.0004% of income. You now officially make a penny per play.
Really?
So let's look at this in perspective. Stuck on Repeat has 56,160 plays. You do the simple math, you got some money. You got some money right there. So it makes all the difference that you guys are actually making a little bit more of an income. And if you take in perspective, and people are like, really, only a penny? And I'm like, do you understand how many millions of songs exist on Spotify that they're going to have to pay out a penny is billions of dollars still.
Like 100 times or more than what they were paying. So.
Oh yeah, and everyone's like, it was only 0.0004%. That's how much I was making, and I'm like, you were making less than a fraction of a penny per play, and I'm like, that is degrading.
It is a penny per play. We can probably release the EP a lot sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean,
see
like, artists can eat now. It's great.
Artists can eat.
I don't believe until I see it, but that's a great news. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, I've been mentioning it to everybody.
Well, you know what's the biggest thing too is like what I always say about the whole starting a band and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have to go in it thinking that they're starting a restaurant. You know what I mean? They have to go into like you're starting a business. You're not just going to around the corner and selling your pieces of art.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're serious about it, like you really have to. And I'm a math major, so like anytime I get my hands on math and raw data, dude, I'm all about that. So like
you're the finance guy.
He is.
Yeah, I'm technically the treasurer or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to be, but yeah, I don't know.
Secretary or treasurer.
Do a lot of things and like, I mean, if you want to have that, persona, having fun, whatever. Like I think store of the year, the days of kind of just don't do much. Well, that's fine. But like for us, I think we more focus on, hey, like we love our fans. We want to like really just be a business and like give back to them as much as we can possibly. And the most we can do with that is be sustainable or sustained. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing too is that the way we run our band is that we have yet to truly pay ourselves. We've done the whole thing where you can go online and start your what's the company called that we're registered with that we can BMI.
Yeah.
So we're individually set up for BMI. So when we go do shows outside, we'll get paid individually because they'll individually pay us separately. But outside of that, everything goes directly to the band. Like it gets reinvested.
It just circulates.
I mean, that's the main thing you should do with any business. I mean, obviously the minimum requirement for any business in general, we're looking at maybe an income of like a couple of bucks within like, an actual real profit, I should say, within like 3 years is typically the minimum. A lot of people go with the mindset of just, it's not the right mindset either, especially if you're looking at more of a business perspective. And that's something, I do take seriously too, because I majored in advanced business management. My whole background is just pure business and marketing and strategizing and everything. And, I've helped out bands, I've helped out businesses, I've done it all, for brand new startup businesses in general, or just brand new bands in general who are just like, hey, I need to know where to go. Can I have some pointers? Yeah, I'm more of a mentor, technically, I guess you can look at it. But I don't think it's wrong or inappropriate for bands to have that mindset of be like, I'm going to start this. We're going to make money. We're going to have fun doing it. Great. Awesome. Make sure you're doing it right, though.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle so much with that because I feel like people need to hear that more, too. And it's just like, don't get your hopes up. I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm really not. Just...
Right.
You got to really be willing to put in more than 150% of all your time and dedication. If this is what you love doing and you want your life to do exactly this and to produce or make music, you got to go all out with it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. You're going to be poor at times. It's just going to happen. We all go through it. There's no avoiding it. You just need to really do your research, study a little bit more about it. And like you said, once it comes to the numbers, you got to keep on top of it. The one time you're not paying attention, you're like, all right, we want to go ahead and produce like a brand new like album. You're like, shit, I have no money. Well, yeah, you got to save up. You got to, once again, like you mentioned as well, you got to reinvest back into the band. that's where you're able to make new music. That's how you can pay your producers to do the awesome work that you're doing, to anyone who makes your merch, to get all of that out. It's so much money. And you need, and a lot of people, they hate hearing this, and I've had a lot of people get pissed off at me for saying this, but you need to be willing to spend money to make money. You need to spend money to make money. If you don't, you're not going to make anything. And it also goes with the most hated thing too in my other video I put up about making YouTube content. You got to be willing to sell yourself for any piece of entertainment. If you're in the entertainment industry, you have no choice. I learned that the hard way. And a lot of people mistaken that. They're like, well, I don't want to like put myself out there for like slavery. No, that's not what it means. You just got to know how to market yourself properly. You got to know how to work on your, it sucks, but it goes a little bit with sales too, because obviously you need to sell your merch and stuff. That's kind of the whole point. But you need to be willing to spend money to make money, and you need to be willing to sell yourself, to market yourself, to brand yourself, and that's what you guys have done. You have a name for yourselves. People recognize and remember the name after the com. Ton of people have your merch. We already clearly see that almost like 60,000 people alone listen to just one of your songs on repeat. And that is insane. So you branded yourselves well. You managed to do everything you're supposed to, hence why you're playing larger shows and have been. It's, you know, it's more of a point where I really hope bands who are struggling, that are either A, where you guys currently stand, or maybe a little bit smaller even, just to like, don't get the wrong impression, just keep on going at it. It's not easy, but every other band's literally experiencing the exact same thing. There's no escape from it. There's going to be times where you're never going to have money, and there's going to be other times where you're going to be like, we can eat a Vegas buffet today, and you're going to gorge on it, and you're going to have no money again. But you know what? Welcome to being an artist. That's...
You know, one thing I'd like to add to that in general is, I think right now people can look at the quarantine as this way of an excuse to possibly not do as much. Whereas it's like, to me, it's like, if you're going to really try to do this as your career, as your love, as your craft, that, you know, this is supposed to be everything that you want to do. Yeah. Turn this around. Yeah. Turn, you know, like take advantage of the quarantine. Take advantage, meaning if you're going to be home all the time, start doing content, start doing podcasts, start doing all this stuff.
Why are you doing this?
Like, right, exactly. Like the idea is, don't sit on your ass and wait until somebody presents you with opportunity. Make the opportunity yourself.
Odds are it's not going to happen. Yeah.
We're busier now than we were before. Almost.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it should be. Like, I don't like the mentality, and I know sometimes I struggle with it. And I'm sure a lot of other people do. Just real quick, because I know you had something to add on, but just before I forget, because I know my ADD is acting up. I had too much coffee. You know, a lot of people do, and I understand that everything we're experiencing right now is really, really difficult. I get it. Sometimes there's that lack of creativity or passion to continue on what you want to do. But like you said as well, people have all of this time now, like literally solid months. We've almost been at this for like more easily over a half a year already. And it's like, there should be no excuse why you can't do anything. Like, if anything, this is the time to be more busy than you ever have been before. Like you said, like, you guys have been busy nonstop because of this, which is awesome. You guys are working together to continue building up your band, your business. And I don't like when people be like, I'm not motivated. Suck it up. Sorry. A lot of other people are like struggling too, but like,
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, you're going to have hard times. I'm not dismissing that. I have certain days where I can't get up to record anything, and I feel miserable. I feel a lack of like encouragement or anything, and I was just like, I love what I do. I can't keep doing this. It hurts. It like there's no positive reinforcement technically, or so I think. But then, you know, it's the little things I think that drive people too, especially for me, because I can just receive a message from one community member that I have, or a subscriber that follows me. They'll send me a message on Discord to be like, hey dude, like I've been waiting for like you to put out like a video today. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. Something as simple as that. It could literally just be one person. But like you said, like you can't depend on other people to always motivate you. You got self-motivation is very difficult. Especially once it comes to creating music. It's very difficult with a lack of creativity based upon you not being able to leave your homes or, you know, whatever it is. But the basis of it is don't give up. Use your time wisely. If you do that, you will succeed. It's plain and simple. Keep working at it. You'll do fine. It's okay to have off days. If you need to take a break, take a break. Don't give up, though. That's what I wanted to say, because I've been hearing so much about that, and I don't want people to stop doing what they love doing. It hurts. Especially, I would imagine for like you guys too, like a band you love, for example, be like, we just can't do this anymore. And be like, no, we got your back. Like, let me inspire you. Like, let me give you a brilliant idea. Like, I encourage people to do that because everyone's struggling. We understand. We're all going through the same thing, regardless if you think so or not. Help other people become inspired. It's not difficult. I've had people help me out, and I've been trying my best to help other people out. Hence, once again, why I'm doing the Sound Off series, because I have some bands that are on here are like, we can't get anything anymore. And it sucks. Like, it's depressing. And I'm like, well, you know what? Today's your lucky day. Let me change that for you.
Yeah, and
I will guarantee people will watch this because I will make people love you even more than they already thought they did.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things for us is really just, you know, we're obviously not by any means like a massive band, but anyone that wants to learn or anything like in the Arizona scene, like we're always wanting to show DIY videos or anything to like help anyone. So like we always want people to reach out to us for any reason at all. Like we've always been very big on just trying to just connect with people and help out anybody that we know. We learn some things here and there, and like we know we can help out certain people. And
right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, over the years, it's been what, 5-6 years now.
Yeah, just about.
Anyone that started a new band, you know, like I don't know, just we were there once, and we just loved all the help we got, and we just want to help anyone else we can. So,
in the early days, like in the early days, not a lot of people knew us, so there wasn't any really like there was no reason to even care about us at all, and not in the sense of like nobody liked us, but like nobody, like we had nothing to show.
We didn't make a presence.
Yeah, but we were very fortunate to have, like very early out the gate, people take us under their wing and help us out, whether it be, you know, the producers that we worked with, other people. I know one person that I know to this day we still owe everything to is Kenny H.P. Johnson. That guy is just super, super awesome, dude. He got us like our first big show with like Icy Stars and Chunk No Captain Chunk. Like,
nice.
So, and then right after that, you know, we started, like I said, you know, once we come into something new, we try to learn from that and soak in as much info as we can. And going off of what John was saying, you know, now that like we went through all of that, kind of like just rolling with the punches, you know, we had, you know, times where like we ended up, you know, not making the best decision, or maybe something wasn't executed perfectly, and we look back and we're critical of ourselves, not in a bad way, but we look and we say, okay, like we need to do better. So how are we going to do better? Or if it was a good one, you know, whether it be a show, a release, or anything like that, we look at it, that's good, but how can we even make it, you know, better now? And now that we are at that stage, we feel like looking back, there are even bands, you know, now that are still coming out from a fresh start and don't know anything, and nobody's really there to kind of help them out, you know, because not to say that nobody wants to help out, but you even said yourself, everybody's working crazy right now. So everybody's trying to do their own stuff. Yeah. So we want to, that's why we're definitely like working really hard right now, trying to compile a bunch of content that is almost, like John said, like a DIY, kind of helping, whether it be from setting up a live stream or, you know, for something you want to do, or how do you, you know, go about finding producers and stuff like that, because we didn't know any of that in the beginning, you know, we kind of just had to learn it on our own.
And that's something that's like video-wise that we love to do as a series on our YouTube, but also just like back to what John was saying, still open to anybody just reaching out to us.
Yes, please, anybody, please.
Yeah.
Free. We love talking to people.
I've met some great friends from people who have just messaged me and said like, hey, like either we played a show with you guys, like I've heard of you guys, and I've even had people, you know, say like they are like huge fans, like look up to us in a way, and that just blows my head up, you know, gets me all excited. But you know, when then they start asking me, like I you know, I have questions on this or this, and I get so stoked, and I'm just like, I want to just like set everything aside and just like, yes. Like I've had hour-long conversations with people on like Messenger, and just like paragraphs on paragraphs of just like, you know, everything, just kind of letting them pick my brain.
And you know what's funny about that too is that even like we're talking about our level and talking about any other band that's trying to start out, us helping them. It's also been like how you said, like we had Kenny kind of step in and help us. But for me personally, I've always been a big fan of mentors. And my mentor is Gabo from Fayuca.
But getting back to the beauty of this interview, I want to talk a little bit more about the progression in your music. The one thing I do want to say before that, though, I love the fact that you guys just randomly decided to do the cover song for Cups. I thought that was so out of the blue, and I was just like, it works. Just out of the blue, like I said, I just had to say that. I keep on seeing it, and I was just like, out of all the songs they chose, it was Cups.
I think that was an idea from our past guitarist, but he was. I remember he like came in, and this is around the time like the second movie for Pitch Perfect was coming out.
Oh
so
yeah.
He's like, I can totally play the chords for it. Like I have a riff, and the movie's gonna be coming. It's like perfect timing and everything. And it's like it's funny because like even after like we released the song and everything, like obviously people love singing along to it at shows. Even if you don't know us at all, like we on tour, you know, or like when we play, you know, like out of state shows, you know, we play that song and we know that we're gonna get at least one or two people to sing along. But it's
especially the girls, like you know, the biggest funniest part is as soon as we start playing it, you'll see a girl cat like her back towards us, and also she hears like, oh
yeah, she is like, they start hearing it, and then they know it's fun. But like that one, even after the fact, then like the third Pitch Perfect movie came out, we were just like, let's do it, like push this on even more, you know.
It's so funny because it was such a famous song that came out of literally nowhere, in my opinion. Like personally, I still don't understand it. Like it just started out with some girl just playing with cups and then just started singing, and I'm like, we can literally make music out of pure nothing.
And there weren't really any like band covers or like punk or pop punk or rock covers of that song anyways. It was kind of like, it wasn't like we were kind of competing, I guess, in any sense. It's like when you look up, you know, Cups, and especially for anybody who's like, and I know back in the day in high school, I would always, if I heard a song on the radio, then that's cool, I wonder if a band covered it. And I'd go to look it up, and then, you know, you discover a new band from that. So we got people, I think I saw somebody comment on that video. It was a while back, but somebody commented on that video on YouTube, and they were like, I should be working on this essay for school due tomorrow, but I've been listening to you guys' music nonstop.
That's awesome.
And it started with
Yeah, and it started with cups. That song's cool because even though it is a cover and it's not like one of our own, I guess, originals, it's opened the door for some newer fans who would have never found us from our original music, you know.
I think it's on TikTok too now. I think Taylor.
That's for anybody that uses TikTok. I think multiple, if not all, of our songs, the sounds are on TikTok. So
Yeah, I think they use the first streaming platform.
Yeah.
On there. So
let's get some TikToks of After the Call. I want to see it.
But I think what it is too is the sound of Cody's drums when he's doing the actual cut,
on the rim.
Yeah,
you hear
it's so clear. It's so clear that people have used it for their TikTok videos for that piece specifically. So it was just like,
oh yeah, because the song opens with that. The song opens with Cody, doing the little cut thing, and so I guess you have a point. Like somebody they might not even look to see that it's us, but it's like sounds exactly like the cut song to me. So then they know that you did it.
So anyway,
we're cool with that, by the way. Keep on doing that.
Keep doing cool stuff.
Something else that kind of really caught my attention a little bit more as far as your music goes, when we're starting looking at the OG music you guys put out, was there a transition between, for example, for just to name a few again from your older album like Bloodline and With Haste, stuff like that, and then the transition to Greenway? Because I remember when that song came out, I remember looking at it, and for some reason in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is going to be a softer song, isn't it? And then I remember listening to it, and I was like, this is actually really refreshing to hear. And, it was, don't get me wrong, and obviously never take this the wrong way. I still love the older stuff, but that's very subtle transition going from slightly heavier stuff to that was just a breath of fresh air again. And so you're going from a transition where everything is harder. There's a little bit of definitely harsher, raspier vocals and everything. Definitely some harder tones and, guitar styles. And going the Greenway where the vocals are just clean and smooth. All the guitars just sound stupid relaxing. And I remember listening to it. I actually ended up listening. I think about 3 times today before we got started. I'm listening to it. I'm like, why did I not listen to this more before? Something about the tones and everything and the way it's produced. I think I'm a big person, nerd once it comes to this too. There's certain wave frequencies that just help the human brain relax. I think that's one of those songs. I don't know, when I listen to it, I'm just like, okay.
It's it still has that little bit of oomph. To where especially live, it's a fun, rowdy song live. People move around, but you can either jam out to it in your car, or just like you said, you can just be kicking it, chilling in your room, just jamming out to it. And, it's funny that you said about the transition from the older stuff to that. Just like David had said on the first record, there are 2 songs on there that had this lineup, and then the remaining songs on there were with the older lineup that we had.
Yeah.
So we already knew that we were kind of having a weird combination of the record, but Greenway was the first release after that, so we knew that that was the first official release that was going to have this lineup. So we knew that we had to come out the gates with something good. And that one's fun. I remember, I think when we started writing it, we were sitting around in the practice room and we had said, we need to get people jumping. We were like, I don't care where it is in the song, but somewhere we gotta have people jumping. So we were just working on the rhythm for that. And it just ended up, it's the very beginning of the song, and it's still to this day, you just get people jumping up and down, and it's so fun. I think after we released it and we played the first or second show after it was out, and I got to like do that, 1, 2, 3, and like have people jump. Like I just saw the whole crowd go instinct, and I was like, "Fuck, that's so cool, dude!" It was like super aesthetic. Like it almost made me like stop what I'm doing. It's gonna be like, wow,
Yeah, like honestly, we're always trying to better ourselves, and that was one of those moments where we always try and look at bigger, better artists in a way where, and like I remember seeing people jump a lot in the crowd. Like I was thinking back and holy crap, like our EQ was great, but like I don't remember any moments where we had the crowd like involved in a song.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember like saying, "Hey, we need to like get a song jumping," and David, because he's so much better at like transitioning emotions into guitar riffs than I am, he like came up with a guitar riff, then they would jump, he like instantly, I feel like at least, and then like Logan would do it on lyrics so quick. It was crazy how quick they are with this stuff, and like it was, and I felt like that song came together so nicely, and then like he was saying, live it just worked out great.
Yeah.
And like I still feel like that's a single that can still get huge, even it came out in 2017.
Yeah.
But I still feel like it's like one of the best ones we put out, even though it's so long
It's
ago.
fun. The music video is fun. We got to do it all on our own. So it was
We have GoPro.
just GoPro and we drove around my old neighborhood and
That was all David.
and just switch spots driving. But I mean, it's just a fun, careless thing. And it's funny too, because like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I love that song." Like I've had people come up, and be like, "That's my favorite song by you guys." But the video is super fun. The song itself is very uppity, kind of fun, but chill too. But when you really like get down to the nitty gritty of the lyrics, it's pretty depressing, like sad. But it's about like struggling with the demons in your head, and kind of like our previous conversation, like not feeling that drive or not feeling it, but it's really just it's fun. It's like the lyrics that themselves talk about that topic, but the song tries to supplement, being like, here's your boost, So
That's what I love about songs like that. I've been a huge sucker for sad lyrics, but the music makes it sound so happy.
that's pop punk. That's all pop punk, dude.
I know. It's just sad boy good times, I get it. I mean, another reason, it's not all the music, but a huge chunk of the reason why I am obsessed with Alkaline Trio. Their music is just really dark, but some of their songs are like, this makes me feel like I might be kind of crazy, but in a good way. Like the songs are very kind of screwed up. It's dark punk, but like the music is just like, why is this so catchy? But yeah, I love stuff like that in general.
The
So.
song "Stupid Kid" by Alkaline Trio is so happy. The music, kind of we're talking about, the lyrics,
It's like listening to the American Scream, and it's like, that's a really screwed up song, but the guitar riffs are like, that's stuck in my head. Like that's
Speaking of guitarists, I'm so stoked for the next EP for you to
Yes, yeah.
They had so much fun.
Yeah, if we're talking about transition and evolving, like Home Sweet Home, like I said, it's only been out just for a few months, but and it sucks because like we haven't gotten to like really showcase it, like live or anything. So we're hoping that it's doing justice with everybody right now, just listening. But we are like the new material that we worked on is just like a complete just new ball game, like step up from even Home Sweet Home, and then it just works its way all the way down. Like I said, it's always been progression for us. So I'm very, very stoked for you to hear some of the new stuff.
For sure.
out of curiosity, do you guys have any do you have a music video up currently for Home Sweet Home?
Yes. It was
Okay.
I think it released with a song we did with the video with Lance Gergard. Actually, we shot it here at David's house. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we shot it. It was a really long day. It was like a 13, 14-hour day.
Yeah.
But it was like literally us five, Lance, and then we had the actress in the video, Julia, who is like a longtime friend of mine. and she had a friend of hers who did our makeup and stuff for the video, so we looked nice and pretty. But yeah, it wasn't a lot of people, and it was just like we just powered through the whole day and just rocked out a pretty cool video. And the video itself is in the same way the song is. Like we tried to write like a metaphor of like staying inside of your house and keeping the outside looking nice is the same as like staying inside your head and making sure you look fine on the outside. So the video complemented the song in that same way.
So I was about to say, like, looking at the album artwork for Home Sweet Home, you can't help but just to constantly just like stare at it.
And that one we made ourselves too. That one we made here. That's a photo of me putting a blank white mask on, and then David just went in. Obviously, like he had to beat me down a little bit, to give me more like not such big arms and stuff. But and then just
I use them as a reference.
an outline.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
And then start drawing. Yeah, but now I remember when we were trying to figure that out. We were like sitting down here one day and he had a bunch of different. He had like up to like 5 or 6 different versions of that album art, and we just looked at all of them and we were just like, no, not that one. Yeah, this one. Maybe incorporate some of this into that.
But the fire is what stuck out the most. It's because we had a bunch of different backgrounds and different things like that, and the fire just made sense. It's like to hear "Home Sweet Home" in this nice looking font, very homey, like ooh, home sweet home. But in the background, you're seeing this basically hell.
Yeah,
kind of like living in. It's just kind of like wow, like
it gives like almost like it's a little bit conflicting in a sense. But I like that a little bit more because you hear Home Sweet Home, you're like, oh, okay. But then you look at that album artwork and you have that character just, it kind of looks almost slightly defeated. The character's not really smiling and trying to put on a mask to look happier. And then you have that flame in the background and everything. It's just like there's so much more going on than meets the eye. And I love the fact, and I don't think people do this enough too, but not only the songs are created in a manner where it's open for interpretation for your listeners to kind of interpret in their own way of what the song means, but I am a sucker for graphic design and for good graphic design. And to be able, I might be hitting him up in the future, my God. I mean, like, I knew you could draw, but whew.
David's done like a majority of like a lot of our design, like the cover for the EP. Yeah. That was done by us.
flyers.
Yeah, flyer. Most of our early flyers on shows. I think even all the album artworks for all the singles too. You did too, right? Yeah. So
Literally easy.
Everything. And that's what's so good about like, I guess another thing for bands to kind of like keep in mind is like, there's nothing wrong with keeping your stuff as much in-house as possible. Because like I said, John's our number guy. He works out all the logistics on that. David's all on the design side and everything like that. Cody's great with like social media and like outreach and stuff like that. It's like all the rest, like we all have our own little things. It's kind of like Voltron, man. We're all good, but when we come together, we make this mega, after the prom. And so it's try to do as much stuff as you can because like I said, it's been almost 5-6 years, and we're still able to kind of do everything on our own, and it helps out financially too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, huge.
the biggest
He just
thing
gave us so much money. Holy crap.
that's like I think the biggest thing for any band. It's like if you can find a member in your band to kind of do any like art or anything for the band, it's like you set yourself up for better success no matter what, because at that point you're just saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And not only that, you can be picky. You can be like, oh, we need it to be exactly like this, and not feel like you're over exhausting like a graphic artist and saying, hey, you get 3 redesigns and that's it, but I'm cutting you off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, we also want to try to change this a little bit. It's like you can be that way in the band, but outside of the band, you can't. You know, you have to respect the boundaries of, hey, you're paying for this. You gotta be a little bit more prepared when you go to a designer or a videographer. Like before we went to Lens, we had to we felt like we had to break down everything before we even
storyline and everything.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because he said, "Oh yeah, no, usually nobody does." He's also actually that you guys do this. It was actually pretty cool that you guys already did all this work and kind of are able to talk to me about your guys' vision and that you guys have a vision. He's also sometimes I'm usually the person that has to come up with a vision for an artist. So it's like we also make it somewhat a little bit easier on them on when they feel like they don't have to come up with everything from scratch. It's kind of like it's a working relationship. It's like, oh yeah, you guys are actually prepared. Like, that's nice. You know, I think that's something I think all bands should actually try to do. Definitely. It's like try to be a little bit more prepared before you interact with anybody, and just like because I think it ups their perception of you as a professional, as someone coming to like let's say coming to you and saying, hey man, we really want you to do this video for us or whatever it is. If they have even somewhat of an idea ready for you, I think you would just appreciate it so much more than they're like, hey man, we just want to do a video with you. Well, we have no idea what we want to do.
Yeah, can you do all that for us?
Yeah, can you do all that stuff for us? You know, so it just I think for every profession, if you're gonna go reach out to a graphic designer, videographer, photographer, anybody, if you kind of can bring something to the table, I think it just ups their respect for you. That's how I do.
There's a quote that I really like, and it's just stop waiting for other people to do something for you.
Okay.
Because like you can like easily do it. It's like you think to yourself, man, like I need to find somebody that can that can help. I need to find somebody that can demo my music so I can go into the studio more ready with my songs. And it's like start demoing yourself. You know, like I mean, early we've gone from showing producers phone recordings of like all of us playing to like now that this last time that we went into the studio, we had all the songs like demoed out and then like even went and re-tracked them with everything separate so that we could actually pull apart everything and actually look at everything and make sure that everything was written exactly how we wanted to. So it's just when you start doing more of those things, like they were saying, you have more time to be able to actually focus on it and nitpick, and quality check it all. And you're saving money. It's all at your own pace, and you become better because as you become better at demoing, then you start kind of understanding the production side of it. So where obviously it's a huge investment and years of practice, but at some point you can start getting into producing your own music. And a band that can produce their own music is like one of the best things ever.
Yeah. So much money, time saved.
Yeah. Oh boy, a lot of money. I could have helped, but instead, my brother and I are like, nah, we're creating an EP. So it's like, we got one out. Trying to write another one, but we'll see what happens with that. But another thing I've always been interested in, something that now, this is weird because I have a fear of dolls, and I think you know where this is probably going already. You have a song called Porcelain.
Wait, what?
Porcelain.
And it has an antique doll that's face is falling apart. That is nightmare fuel for me.
Yeah,
but
almost on the dot.
I love the song.
That's one of our like more catchier, like prettier, nicer sounding songs.
But visually,
where visually, but like.
You know what's funny though is you actually look at the video for that one. The same exact color palette from the album is actually in the video.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact color palette.
It's just this guy right here.
Yeah, it's kind of like half of the music video, half of the lyric video.
Yeah.
More just kind of like me like performing the song all by myself. But we wanted to have this aesthetic with that song and like with the packaging of it when we released it. So that was the thing that we. So I remember me and John had met up with a buddy of ours because we were going to try to do like different versions of the album art, and we went out to like by the casino out here by Westgate, and like we're just like that plot of land is just all dirt, and they had like a concrete slab out there, and like we were just like brought out like a bunch of bases and stuff like that, and porcelain stuff, and just like dropped it and had like shutter shots and tried to get stuff like that. So it's like we were experimenting on a bunch of different stuff, and then David was like, he's looking, he's like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. And then like, let me try to work something out. And then he came back with this one, with the one that you have now, and we're like, you know what, that works. And but I don't think we thought about the complications of anybody's
the creep factor.
Yeah, the creep factor.
I mean, that's just personally for me. I've had this fear since like I was like a little kid. So every time I look at it, I'm like, but like I said, great song. Just images, it's there.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That was the first song that I actually noticed people singing along at shows. Like I mean, in this, like I sing, individual, but when I could like hear them, hear more than one person singing along above the music, and that's always super cool.
Well, that chorus.
Yeah. Well, yeah, David. Before when we were at the song, David, we weren't leaving that room until we had a chorus that we were all happy with, and I sat there and I grinded for a bit, and I showed him the melody that I had written for that song, and he was like, "That's it." So I got right on it.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but wasn't that one of the songs where you kind of almost started from the melodies and vocals and not guitars? Or I forget.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because
I think that one was because usually we do guitars first. I think that one was like an experiment where, like, I think you almost started out some sort of melody.
Yeah, I think it was either the
It was a verse, because I remember the chorus itself was that kicker. It was like, all right, we're gonna go down this path. I was like, if this song is gonna be a song, we need to figure out the chorus. And it was like, we're not gonna progress anymore with the song until we figure out the chorus. And then that's where Logan went off for like, I don't know.
I sat in the corner for like 10, 15 minutes.
And he's all, how about this? And he like sang it, and I'm like, all right, I like it, I dig it, let's move forward. And then we took off with that song, and ended up being one of our like most liked songs.
Yeah, most streamed song. And I was super nervous when we were gonna put that song out, because like that was along with Stuck and Repeat and Captive. We wanted to put out the 3 singles that were all completely different types of songs. Captive's your heavy metal song, Porcelain's Porcelain, and then Stuck and Repeat's more of the traditional kind of pop punk of us. But I knew that the punk kids were gonna like that, and I knew the heavy metal heads were gonna like Captive. But Porcelain I was all nervous about, because I was like, this is the most like, I guess, different in a sense. It's very pretty sounding, but I mean, once we put it out, we had tons of people being just hooked on that chorus, and even like stoked when we were like playing it live. So I was really, really happy with how the reception was on it.
Yeah, I mean, because that ended up, like you said, like one of your most popular streamed songs here. And Porcelain has, let's see, 15,202 streams currently.
Nice.
So, yeah, you
and
guys.
It's the most viewed video on YouTube as well, I think.
Oh, that
sense.
Well, I think Cups might beat it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
But
that's different.
I know like Porcelain just fucking shot up and views and stuff.
I actually didn't realize this, but on the top of Spotify, it lets me know about the monthly listeners. So monthly listeners for you guys is currently at 7,904, which is
I didn't know that.
which is really good. So now you know.
Wait, really? Really?
That's what it's telling me.
Oh,
Cool, man. I think it's just all those. We're just really trying hard to get onto different like Spotify playlists and well, not their playlists, just use playlists and try to connect with people. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's crazy. Yeah, we're almost at 8,000 monthly listeners. Wow, I did not know that. That blows my mind. That's pretty cool.
Hey man, that's hard work. That's what pays off. Like this is again, right now, this is the win that we didn't even realize that was happening.
Exactly.
Is like another motivation.
Yeah. So thank you for adding just that little extra motivation for us.
Of course.
I remember too.
Glad I could be of service.
When we were in the studio just not too long ago, John had came in, and this was right after we had released Home Sweet Home, so we were still campaigning it, trying to get it on playlists and stuff like that. And John came into the studio one day and he goes, "We got how many in one day do you think we got on that good day that you said it streamed a bunch?"
Oh crap! Like at once or like the song?
The song. And that one day, you said in this one day it got this many streams.
I don't know. I think at most it was probably like a few hundred.
Yeah, it was a few hundred, like
It wasn't 1,000 at all.
just within one day. But within a week, and like I said, when you look on like the Spotify artist page, like since in a week it has like plus 200% increase of like it was crazy. And we were like sitting there like, yeah, we were like, holy crap, what the heck? Like, and like Dave was like, I'm kind of like blown away by this. And then our producer Ryan goes, "Your band is being a band, like just get used to it."
Yeah, he was really cool. He actually had a lot of advice for us, and I feel like we're gonna hopefully grow more off of what he told us.
Yeah, so Ryan Davidson, great guy, great at what he does. So we had a fun time with him. We spent a month in the studio with him. We miss him already.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I think I have a huge feeling that because of him, our live game is going to be step.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
He told us a lot of like different things that we can do and taught us some stuff. So we're going to be implementing in that, for our future shows. So hey, for the people that have seen us live before,
whole new thing.
It's going to be like bigger. I guess that's all I can say. It's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where you when you start a band, it's just like you just think about the 5 people that are in the band and that's it. You don't kind of look at what can I do to kind of like expand the sound and make it bigger. You know what I mean? And make the live show so much grander. And lately we've been better about that. Like I feel like when we first started, we knew that we needed to bring some kind of charisma to the stage, which we always have, but I felt like as of lately, we were getting more into bringing the crowd into our songs, just doing more interactive stuff with everybody that's involved in their show. So it's kind of awesome to see where that's at from, what is it, January was our last show?
Yeah, the end of January. So it's been a while.
So January, so people are going to see us from January, and then when we actually finally do our first show back, I feel like it's just going to be this major light switch. Or like, whoa, wait, is this even the same band that I even saw?
I think it'll definitely help you out a lot more with that. I think it definitely is going to help out a little bit more too, because as we all know, with all venues and everything being shut down still, and God, it's been a nightmare for everybody. But I think, since I've been working in the entertainment industry for venues or building stages for artists and stuff for quite some time, and I very, very closely follow all this, I personally think when all this passes, there is going to be the largest boom in music that we have probably seen in years.
Guaranteed.
And there's no doubt about it, because everyone is so unbelievably desperate to go back to concerts. Like, don't get me wrong, I am too. But like, I think when people realize venues are opening back up and all this is done, and people, and you, for hypothetical, you guys already went ahead, got your sound together, worked with your producer like no other, got this whole thing planned for everybody. When you get on stage, people are going to go nuts. It is almost guaranteed, because people are so desperate. Yeah. I mean,
I didn't even see in like next year summer, just festivals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, already be like 2021, this festival and stuff.
Yeah, that's been helping out a ton too. I really hope they happen.
It's cool that they're trying to create this
buzz.
light, this light at the very end. Like there is going to be, shows aren't done forever. They will be coming back, and that's why we're just taking it a day at a time. We know that like we can't play any shows right now. We can't tour. So, but what can we do in the meantime? Which is why we're working on tons of new content. We have our Patreon up and running with new content every 2 weeks. We have our YouTube with a bunch of new stuff that's going to be coming out on it soon. So we're trying to keep as busy as possible. If we can't give you the shows that you guys want to see and come out and hang out with everybody, we're at least going to try to supplement you in some way by just trying to fill you with a bunch of content.
One thing, since we're still on the topic of venues, I would say anybody that hasn't done it, please do it. Sign that petition that's going around on trying to pay venues.
I did that immediately.
Yeah, that was one of those things I was like, hey, gotta do that, spread the word. But anybody that hasn't, by the time this comes out, please do that. It's one of those things where I feel once this thing is over, there might be a gap of venues, and that's scary.
It's gonna hurt people, because all these bands and all these artists, sure, you can be, like I said, using this time to work on new music, work on rebranding yourself, packaging new releases and saving up, but these venues can't. So when all these bands are getting ready, and then when this pandemic kind of stuff ends and dies down, and you can start doing these shows again, if there's not, prime venues, because if you're not going to get, obviously you're not going to get up there, you're not going to be able to book for local bands, you're not going to be able to book the marquee as easy as they would Pub Rock or Club Red. And we need places like Pub Rock and Club Red. I mean, we've already lost a great venue of Joe's Grotto, unfortunately, and that sucked so bad.
I used to do so much booking there with Joe, and I became really good friends with him. And after I heard that they closed down, I was just like,
that was even before the pandemic.
Yeah. And that was where our first EP release show was. I mean, so
we have a lot of
memories there.
Yeah.
And so that's why I share the same word as David, that we these bands, yes, it's good that all these bands are getting ready, but you could have your whole arsenal ready to come back out of the gates, running. But if there's no venues, then like, what are you going to do? You can't, you can't play outside, just in the grass. You need a venue. So that's why it's very important for everybody right now to support all venues, from your small little dive bars up to your Van Buren's and marquees and stuff, everything in between, because there's different markets for a reason, because there are different bands in different stages. It's gonna suck if it starts again and these bands that are just starting
don't have
because there's no way that a brand new band with barely any music out, barely any fan base, anybody's gonna like book them right off the bat at like some big venue, unless they have a good enough pool or good enough say for themselves. So that's why they need their smaller venues to make a name for themselves.
And on that note as well, we had an interview with Rhea Wiley and
I saw that one.
Very interesting theory on what's going to happen with all the venues, and so that was a good thing to think on as well, especially on Patreon. But it's really supply and demand. Like when it comes back out, it's going to be a lot of demand. A lot of people want to get there, and there's going to be no supply at all, pretty much. We'll see, but like, you're a businessman, Jack. Like it's going to be a little crazy.
So we're hoping that this whole thing goes through. This petition that is able to save the venues that can. It's one of those things where if nobody does it, it's just like, don't complain then when it's over and you can't go to a show anymore. And
I mean, because of this, like all of us are technically like out of our jobs. Like you can't play music, you can't make your money. I used to work for Rhino Stage. I mean, I still technically do, but like I can't work. I can't build stages. I can't work the AV field and everything that they usually have me do. And I loved my job to death. It's the first job I've actually really felt like a part of like their professional crew, their team. And for all event workers and everything, it's so unbelievably rough. And I can't even imagine, like, I guarantee by the end of this, and if it even still is open, I don't think 51 West is even going to be a thing anymore. There's no way. It's too small. There's not enough people that go there. And it's going to be sad because there's a lot of cool shows that went on down there. But, like, it had potential for growth. But because of all of this, like you said, people need to sign that petition, which also, by the way, I'm going to link that petition down in the description below. That needs to be signed. If people want to see concerts again, you want to see your favorite bands, you need to sign that.
I would also want to shout out Stephen Poff or Stephen Poff, I'm not sure how everyone wants to pronounce it, of Life Pariah, doing the Club Red thing with all the different band merch and everything like that. I would link that if you can as well. They've been doing a great job with the Club Red kind of fans have been donating merch. If you're buying that, to help out with Club Red, so that's a huge thing as well. I'm loving to see that as well.
Yeah. If there's any information as far as that goes that you guys would like me to put into the description, please just forward that information over to me. Anything you guys take dear as far, obviously I take into consideration the exact same way because we're all in this together. But if there's anything that could potentially help out to, for help musicians, help out our event workers and stuff like that, obviously I'm going to put that in the description below. Even more so for my series, I'm going to have to go back and re-put everything, which is fine. But yeah, my God, just help save the venues.
Yeah, we need them.
We are desperate, man.
There's something with Rebel Lounge too. I forget exactly what it was, but yeah.
I think every
venue pretty much has been
doing something.
There is. So there's a lot of ways to help out for sure.
Yeah. And it's not going to be like, it's not going to be easy to be able to help out every single one of these places, especially with, all by yourself. So that's why if all of us, this entire community, even just helps out a little bit, it will add up and it will really make a difference,
Yeah, because I think when you sign a petition, it's like it also links to sending an email to your congressman and things like that.
I received an email about that, and it was the most avoiding email possible. And I'm like, everything you addressed back to me had nothing to do with saving our events and our workers and our venues. It was just like, we've been receiving a large amount of people emailing us about this. We can assure you that we're working our best. And I was just like, I don't want to hear that. What are you doing?
The spam back out, right?
Yeah, and it's it's the cliche thing for any media press to avoid a situation. I'm like, we all know that you're just sitting there with your thumb up your ass. What are you doing to actually help people who are out of work, who work specifically, the people who actually own the venues? This is their lives. They strive off of helping musicians. It's just it's simple.
It's not just for the bands of the artists. You got people that, like you said, own these venues. They live off of that. You got people that, if they got a bar there, you got bartenders that come into work every day, and you got people that set up the sound and
you got the promoters. You got people that they do everything. Maintaining a venue is so unbelievably difficult.
Yeah.
The fact that anybody can actually stay open is a miracle to me. So
be a really cool video. One of the owners do a background thing of how they do that, because we do a lot of DIY stuff.
That will be kind of just showing from the smallest job at the venue all the way up to the venue owner, just kind of showing how everybody is one piece to this giant machine. I would say even down to the patrons and the people that come out to these shows, because these shows give, especially young kids and stuff, this outlet, this environment where they can come and just throw their worries away and be able to jam out to music with other people that enjoy the same stuff as them. So it literally, from the ground up, it's all connected and it's all off of a building. And a lot of people don't realize that, once as this building is up and running, all of these pieces can be working together.
And that's where I felt at home when I was in high school. I finally got a car. I'm like, all right, I'm going, whenever I have money, on the weekends. I'm going to a show.
Yeah, dude.
Like, 'cause me and my friends all felt at home. Like, we weren't the most popular in high school, but we would go to the shows. That's what we would do whenever we had money. That's what
Yeah,
we
and
did.
you feel like you belong, dude.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I mean, I'm right there with you. That's all I used to do.
So I feel really bad for a lot of people that are in school right now. They're making the best they can. Teachers, whether it be students, they're all doing the best. It's really hard, It's a big transition, honestly, from learning in person to online, and they can't have that social interaction that everyone thrives on. Everyone, So
Yeah.
it's
That's
it's so hard.
that's in our DNA. You know what I mean? Like we need social interaction to survive. Like that's a big
Yeah.
part. And like what I was gonna say really quick about you brought up 51 West.
Mm.
What makes those places so unique is that they're all ages.
Yes.
Like,
they're just very rare.
we love those.
yeah, and those are those ones where like only so many exist. I feel like those are a rare breed. Like you get your normal venues that have alcohol, and that's great, but they also limit the capacity on how much they can have of younger people, and then also how long they're able to stay there. They have to kick them out at a certain time.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like these all age places, even Trunk Space. Trunk Space was a big
So
one. I
good.
remember David Key did a lot of promotions at, and he was a promoter at, and I see all these kids go there having such a great time because that's the only venue they could get into.
Right.
I mean, they're into the same music. They're there for a reason. They're like, I want to see these bands. Why do you keep limiting me? Like, take my money. That's really what it is.
But like, we didn't really get the chance. I mean, we had chances, but like, I want to play. We all want to play more often, but I feel like bigger bands always play at the 21 plus or 18 plus venues. So obviously, like, we would take those offers, but like, I don't know. It's one of those things where like it's hard to balance.
Well, because there's not enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
enough.
enough. Yeah, so like the big bands would never go to all ages ones. Like, oh, it's a small venue, we can't make enough money, and it makes us choose the bigger venues when we want to play the smaller ones. But like, it's so hard.
Our fans vary in age too, so it's like we've had more times than we can count. People be like, "Man, I wish I'd come to that show," but it's not all ages.
Yeah.
So like, some of the and granted, like we've had some great shows that are 21 and up.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of fans that are over 18, but we've had some really good shows that have been all ages shows, and it's because when you think about it, you want to get as many people there at your show watching you. So if you're setting a standard, you're already limiting your capacity of what you can do. So when you have it all ages, you can have such a bigger crowd. I think was the EP release all ages?
I forget.
It was all ages.
16 plus.
Yeah. It was so our EP release, which I think we got so close to almost selling out. But like afterwards, one of the coolest memories ever was just seeing a line from our merch table all the way out the door of Joe's Grotto almost, and they had to have somebody come up and be like, all right, like, we need you guys to split the line up between like under 18 and overage so that we can get all the underage kids out. Because we're about to start operating as a bar just now.
It was past 10.
Yeah, so it's past 10. So like we had to split the line and get all the underage kids, get all their merch, sign all the stuff, take photos and all that stuff, get them out first because they were gonna close down the place and just be as a bar for the rest of the day.
And then later, I think he took away the whole all ages thing.
Yeah.
And it became 18 plus.
Yeah, and like we love all the venues in Arizona, but like I cannot even tell you how many times we tried to negotiate with so many venues. Hey, can we please do all ages, please?
Yeah.
We'll even like pay a little bit more to like round venue. Like we understand, business is business, but like we've always tried to push that, and it's so hard to get that into the negotiations.
If somebody's 16 and up.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing.
That's fine. I mean, like Warped Tour, I was my first Warped Tour, I was 15, 16. So like at that time, I wouldn't have been able to see any of those bands if they were playing at like, Club Red or something like that, because I wouldn't have been old enough to get in there.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was only lucky enough to see him at Warped Tour because that was an all ages event. But we as much as we enjoy the regular shows, because you do get bigger shows that are 21 and up, we cherish the all ages shows because it gives us the biggest range to be able to at least get the most that you can out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
in my opinion too.
Yeah.
Yeah, different energy, and I feel like we've gotten lifelong fans from those shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like people that we've like seen grow up, which is kind of interesting to even
Yeah,
say.
that's crazy.
Well,
I didn't even think.
Yeah, like it's funny. It's like you see them when they were 15, and now like we've been playing, you know, for a while now, and now it's been like 4 or 5 years later, and they're like over 18, trying to become adults, and like, you know, it's funny. It's like we're still having communications with them and talking with them and all that stuff, and just kind of seeing them from our first show being this little kid to like becoming an adult, and I'm like, this is so weird for me. I'm like, oh, like we're getting to know our fans to, you know, to that level, and being able to see that is awesome, you know, and
Yeah.
we just want to make sure that no matter what, in the future, more venues are accessible, they don't go away, that it's just one of those things where you just need to do your part.
Yeah, or even like alternating, you know, maybe you do a 21 up show one time and then maybe the next week you do an all ages show. You know,
That'd be a brilliant idea. They would make a lot more money.
There are some venues that do that. And like,
Pub Rock will do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Pub Rock will do it.
I'm
Yeah.
it's hard to remember all of them, but there are a lot of them that have been doing back and forth, and like, we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, there's way too many times I can recall trying to go to a show, and I wasn't 21 yet, and I was heading out towards I know it's still in Arizona. I think it was going up a little bit more like north, I think. My brother and I drove a good couple of hours out to go see Chris Rowe from the Ataris play an acoustic set. And
Nice.
I've played a show with him and stuff before, and well, that was in the future during that time. But and my brother's like, dude, we have to go out to this. He released a brand new album. It's amazing. It's all acoustic. It's all him. Let's go. We'll drive like a couple of hours to go out there. And I'm like, all right, sweet. We go out there, and then he gets his wristband. He's good to go. I'm not 21. I'm only 20. My birthday is literally in less than 3 months. They would not let me in.
No.
And then I was getting so pissed off, and I was like, I drove 3.5 hours to come to see Chris Rowe. I'm gonna see him. And
What did you do?
during that time, Chris actually, when I said that to the doorman, Chris Rowe walked up behind me and he heard me say that, and then he's like, "Are they not letting you in?" And I'm like, "No." And I'm like, he's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 20." He's like, "You're probably my youngest fan here." And he's like, majority of the people are a lot older. And he's like, he looked at the bouncer too, and he's like, "Let the kid in." He's like, "I never get this." He's like, "I need more people like him to come into shows." He's like, "Everyone else is eventually gonna die." He's like, "Let the younger generation in." And I was just like, and the bouncer's like, "No, I can't. Sorry." It's like house rules. And he's like, "Screw the house rules." He's like, "I'm the artist. Without me, there is no show." And he's like, "Sorry, I just can't." And he's like, "There's literally nothing you can do for him. Like, let him listen to like 3 songs." And he's like, "No, can't let him in." And then Chris is like, he's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Justin." And he's like, "Justin?" He's like, "I'll be right back." He goes inside. He busts out a laptop. And I'm like, what's he doing? And he's going inside. I see him going through, I see like a playlist or something. And he has a blank CD. And I'm like, huh? And I realize music that has not been released yet to the public, he burned on a blank CD for me.
Wow.
And he had limited edition album covers that he made completely by hand and by himself through like photography work he's done. And he's like, "I want you to have this." He's like, and "I'm giving one to your brother too, because he drove you out here." And he's like, "This is bullshit. You should be able you should be able to see my show, but he's like, no one else in the world will ever have this. And I still have it to this day. It's still, it's in my most valued collectible area, and it should be on my wall soon, but I'm still trying to get it reframed because my frame shattered. Unfortunately, album, the CD itself is still in mint condition. Everything else just, and it's little things like that too, where it's just, it sucks because when you are so, and I wasn't even that young. Well, let's be honest, 3 months away from 21. Just let the dude in. Come on. But like, I think that's where things really do need to change a little bit more. I understand why they have to be that harsh. I get it, because a lot of potential lawsuits and underage drinking. I get it. But like you said, you could just cut out a certain section of time. Of be like, maybe artists can set that up too. Maybe in the future, be like, hey, can we set this up where we can do an 18 plus show for this? But if we ever decide to do a younger crowd and in all ages, yeah, maybe you'll have to guarantee a little bit more of like ticket sales, for example, to make up that bar difference, because that's generally how they make their money. Right. So it's like, if I know it's hard for a lot of different venues, but if there is a strategic professional business, strategy between artists and bands to really work one-on-one and be like, can you guarantee this amount of sales to make up this? And you'd be like, yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're going all out for it. Perfect. I think the venues will actually agree to that. But I think the way things have been going now, when venues come back up, I don't think they're going to have much of a choice. I think it's actually probably going to encourage them to be like, shit, we just need any kind of money we can, because people are going out of business. And even if the venue itself is not going out of business, like you guys mentioned, you're losing your bartenders, you're losing your promoters, you're losing the bands that are coming in, you're losing your janitors who clean up the venue. How are you going to pay for electricity? How are you going to pay for all your overhead expenses? You can't.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm actually really interested in the business aspect of what happens when everything comes back in. Like you just said, it's been X months, like 6 months, maybe 8 or 10. I forget how long exactly, but
yeah,
they might not have the same employees anymore. They might not be the same experienced ones. So like, I think when things hit back in, we're gonna see like a lot of bands, but like the business are being so hard. They're gonna be trying to find employees so good.
They're probably gonna price gouge the events a little bit too, I feel like.
Maybe it'll be unfortunate too.
It's gonna be interesting because like literally, I'm sure some will come back, but I feel like a lot of them might not. The retention rate of the business might be low, obviously, and they don't have enough money to probably train them before they open. So it's gonna be really hard, and I feel like I think a lot of people need to understand that initially the service might be different than what they expected from before, and everyone needs to understand like, hey, they're just going back into business, like,
it's not going to
be respectful, like, try to understand there'll be a learning process of coming back in again, and they need to build up their repertoire of employees again, Yeah, and I feel like most people are a little bit rude, honestly, about employees and how they work, so I feel like it's going to be kind of a weird first month back, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that comes.
It's going to have definitely a rough patch, but I agree with you. I think over time, people just need to refine their feet again. Obviously, no one really knows where that solid ground is or where that solid foundation is on where the music industry in general is going to lead up to. I'm always extremely optimistic because I know if people actually really work together, then it's more than possible to get everything back up on its feet. And, we're basically starting off as little tadpoles again. And we have... like we're just little babies again, trying to figure out what can we do to bring back everything. And I think if more people keep that mindset too, where it's not just the venue depends on a ton of people, and majority of those people don't have jobs anymore. It's not just the venue. It's just not the bands. It's the people who spent thousands upon thousands of dollars to become a bartender to get their license. It's not easy. A lot of people to run that kind of business in general, there's a lot of legal agreements you need to work on. There's a lot, once again, a lot of that overhead. It's so ridiculously expensive. And people, you know, it's okay that they don't always think that way, but I think people need to be more mindful of a lot goes into a venue. Without all of these people, this place wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But yet again, if they didn't start up the business, then these people wouldn't exist. And it's something, literally just a full, 180, 360, whatever you want to call it. It all comes back around again. And I've literally mentioned this in every single one of my interviews. And it's the same thing as a band. Without the band, there is no fans, but without any fans, there is no band. The same thing happens for any business, for any entertainment YouTube channel, Twitch channel, any venue created, anything you can possibly think of. You need both in order to flourish and to succeed. And you got to be mindful of other people who've lost their jobs and realize, without the venues, thousands upon thousands of people don't have jobs anymore. And a lot of people will be like, oh, they can get a job somewhere else. It's not that easy anymore.
Yeah.
I wish it were that easy. If it were, then hell, I would be getting people jobs left and right. Like, I wish I could, but, until we actually start taking care a little bit more about that and understanding on how we can actually help people. I know that goes a lot further into detail based upon government funds and stuff like that. I get it. I don't know anything about that. So if you get angry at me for that, I'm admitting it right now. I don't know much about that at all. Little to none.
Yeah, I can't talk much about government.
No, but I do know how to save our venues. It's not that hard. Just sign that damn petition.
There you go.
In the description down below.
Yes.
Down below.
I will link it. Odds are they'll link it. Everyone will link it because it's important to all of us. And it's without shows, like, we need music to live. We do. Music has saved so many people's lives, and especially now that it's also, it's more the, I'm not actually going to say it, but we all understand what I'm getting at when I say it's the mental health month for September. And my God, do we need music more than ever. We need to put a smile on our faces. So this is the appropriate time to push harder than ever before.
Well,
that I want to get out there.
But we are going to try and do my acoustic stuff as well.
Oh.
Just keep an eye out.
Yeah.
I will. When that happens, I
know. So
I will repost that. Don't worry. It's funny because that's something I've actually been trying to see if I could do, but I never know how people's audio quality is gonna come out. But I've always wanted to try and do some like live acoustic performances to kind of boost bands up a little bit. I know a lot of people do it on either YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. A lot of Facebook streams as of lately. To try to make a little bit more music or promote their Patreon, stuff like that. And I want to see if I can push that a little bit further. As of right now, I know it's not possible because people will need like really good gear and my bandwidth and everything. I need to figure out latency issues and stuff for real time because I know that's what people want. In the future, that will happen. I will work my way towards that. I want full-blown like live stream performances from bands on my show here. But
I feel like I've seen you play acoustic before and you sing as well.
I've done some stuff myself, but I used my camera for that, and it wasn't the best quality. But like, I did what I did. It was just an experiment kind of thing, and be like, oh, maybe people like my music. And I was just like, why the hell would I ever think that? Right? People are in here mainly to see me rage quit video games and to talk to bands. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Which is fine. I'll take that. I just need something. But yeah, I would love to do that. I do have a lot of plans for different, to help out different bands and stuff. But as of right now, thankfully we have stuff like this. Thankfully we have other people like you guys interviewing other artists too. And I think, and I want to put this out here, if you want to interview the same bands that I am, do it. Like I said, I am not doing this for me. I am doing this for them. The bands work so hard to do what they do. They deserve to get more recognition. They are getting hit hard.
That goes by person, man. Anybody that it's like, there is no, there is no competition in that sense. There's no like doing it.
The one better.
There's only so much that you can talk about in just one of these. So,
exactly. Yeah.
So for everybody else out there who wants to do these, who has been doing these, and I'm not just saying for us, I'm saying for any band that you've seen on any other platform, just because they did an interview with this one person does not mean they can interview with 10 other different people.
Yeah, seriously, like, I have seen you guys getting interviewed by a stupid amount of different sources. If I let that stop me, which, by the way, congratulations. But if I let that stop me from, like, interviewing you guys, I'll be like, then I'm not helping you. Like, that's the whole idea. Why else would you interview a band if you weren't trying to help the band?
Right.
I don't know. Am I going crazy, or am I not being selfish?
I'm with you on that one, man.
Hey, 100%, yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, especially when you have different artists on podcasts. I'm pretty sure you had your buddy on there because, you wanted to talk to him more. Let's get more about you. What do you think about this? Everything's focused on them as an artist or as an individual. So, like I said, once again, yeah, I'm making this content, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for After the Calm.
Thanks, man.
I mean,
Definitely appreciate that.
Be sincere, love and respect your artists. Buy their merch. Plug in merch here. I just gotta find like an image of like a hat or t-shirt or something, just subliminal messaging.
We do have right now. We do have a flash sale. We're trying to get rid of like all of our old merch right now.
For
like
right?
10, some as low as 5, I think. Right?
No.
That's wrong. See, yeah, we've already sold out of all the $5 shirts. So you got some shirts for as low as $10. So go get those. Limited sizes.
What I also will say, and I know what you guys probably will say on this, but another thing I am doing a mass live charity stream coming up soon. It is for a little kid who is in the hospital with a rare skin disease. It's like tough skin syndrome or something like that. It's like when your skin starts turning into stone. It's a very rare disease, but it is real. I talked to the mother who organized it and everything. I got the green light to go ahead and promote and to reach out to anybody I can to raise money. The operation overall is going to be worth $1,500,000 just for the operation alone, which is absolutely insane. And my wife brought it up to me because she's a donator and she helps out a lot. And she brought it up to me and I looked at this and I've helped out, and I've helped so many kids in my life through after school programs, helping kids that were raised off the streets, kids with special needs, developmental disabilities, and it's something I do take very, very personally because kids are our future. Like, we need them, and plus I just have too much of a heart in general to see anyone suffer. But I am doing a mass live charity stream. It is still being set up. It is going to be taking a little bit of time. I have a lot of different YouTubers, a lot of different Twitch streamers, literally anyone from multiple platforms to multiple semi-larger bands and touring bands who are helping me out right now. And obviously, if there's anyone I'm interviewing, I always ask if you guys want to be a part of it. Even if you're not able to do a stream or something, I have a couple of bands willing to do like little giveaways for like t-shirts and stuff, or albums for like higher bidders and stuff. It's something I'm really trying to get together. Before we even started, they already surpassed over, I think since I started promoting this out a little bit more, they cleared over a minimum of $1,000 in less than like a week, which to me is huge. I don't know if that was me, but even if it was or not, I'm beyond happy. But yeah, once again, I am trying to reach out to every single band out here. Like I said, if you can just do the tiniest little thing, even if it's like go out of your way, buy like a Target gift card, and it's like, hey, someone could like win this, to someone who, you know, donates a little bit of money, obviously, to enter that raffle, that will help out and support the family. You know, it is a really big cause, and especially for going through that with everything else that's going on right now, I can't even begin to imagine how intense that is. But thankfully, we do have a lot of different people, some affiliations of my channel as well, are helping out any way they can through donations, through headphones, t-shirts, gift cards, like anything they can think of. So to any other people out there, any artists, and literally if you are an artist, it doesn't matter if you're a musician, painter, content creator, I don't care. If you can help out, I would highly encourage it, and I would love you a lot more. Obviously, you don't need to. I understand times are tough, and sometimes you can't. But if you can, let me know, because more the merrier. This live stream is not going to be one day. It's going to go through anytime someone goes live. They'll just have that link in everything in the description. And it's not just me doing it too. Like, I'm doing the live stream independently. I have a buddy of mine, D9, who's going to be doing his own independent stuff for his live stream, his community. I got other people on Twitch doing it on their own time. And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'll have everyone do it and then encourage their community to do it. And then before you know it, this family is going to be flooded with so much money to take care of their child. They're not going to know what to do with the excess money. And that's what I want. After this, I am going to be doing some stuff in Extra Life. If you don't know, that's a charity also for kids. All you do is play video games with friends to raise money for kids in hospitals with cancer and stuff like that too. I've always wanted to do more charity stuff, and this is what mass majority of my stuff is going to be. Is everything. I want everything going back to charity. I got to build myself up a little bit in order to reach out more to charity, but I think I'm at that point now where I have a decent amount to help out families in need, and I hope other people start doing that too. Just find a GoFundMe page, find someone in need or a family, ask them to help. That's all I did. All I did was like, your story touched me. Can I please help by live streaming and having other people live stream to raise money? This mom cried over email of how happy she was about the overall situation. No one else did that. And it's just one little thing like that will literally change the world. And who knows, this kid, if he ends up getting like, and he will get better. I'm not saying if, he will get better. I think he's like 12 or 13 now, I think. So he's still really young. Who knows? He could potentially be the kid who like finds a cure for cancer. We have no idea. And so, you know, I highly encourage everyone to do stuff like that. Stop thinking only about ourselves. It's hard. We got to think about ourselves, but we got to think about others as well. The more you help out other people, maybe we can go back outside again. You know, it's just a matter of that.
I would definitely say that there's got to be some way that we can, you know, figure out how to contribute to it. So yeah.
Like I said, even if it's the smallest way or the largest way you can think of, I don't care what it is. Even if it's just like, I don't know, because eventually I would love to do like larger bands, like where people may be able to do like a meet and greet with like larger bands and stuff. And if the larger artist wants to do stuff like that, I'm literally trying to think of any really outside the box. But if you guys have any ideas yourself that you think could help, or if there's any other people you know that might be interested, definitely reach out. That's the idea. More people, the merrier. But yeah, just wanted to bring that out there because it is something I do take very, very personally. You know, I can't imagine what that family is going through, and especially once again with us being in a little fun lockdown 24/7. So help out today, and if you are interested, I will be putting the Discord link for the RedJagz community server description below. It will automatically put you right into the charity part of it. Just be sure to do everything else on there as well if you're interested. That's also where everyone will be kept up to date with everything as far as like where we are in money for the donations, you know, any updates about improvements or anything as far as the family, and especially with the live stream coming up as well. So please, if you are interested, please let me know. I know bands are more on top of this too because well, let's be honest, artists have some of the biggest hearts in the world. So, I mean, you look at some famous artists like Alice Cooper, he's like, this kid I'm giving like $10,000 to, because he has his own charity too. So
Yeah, he's huge into that.
yeah, I love people like that, and anyone who can do anything like that. You would just make so many lives that much better. And who knows, maybe that little kid can end up seeing like some of the live streams or getting to know new cool bands. Like, you never know, like a band could end up inspiring him to become a famous musician, like inspire people. But yeah, I just wanted to stop that there.
We'll connect. We'll figure it out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh shit, we've been out here for almost 3 hours here.
That's I guess
It's so easy to talk to you, man.
Yeah, like I said, sometimes I get caught up in the whole bit of it too. But I have a feeling you guys are probably going to be very busy for the rest of the day here. I guarantee you have stuff you had planned out. I don't want to keep you here any longer than I have to. But since we are about to hit the 3 hour mark and I now officially have to edit out 3 hours of video, it's going to be, I'm not complaining. It's just going to be fun. But once again, that is all the time I do have here for today. If anyone else is interested in any of the other interviews that I have done or here with After the Com, if you would like to see a little bit more, you know, if you'd like to see us catching up again in the future, please let us know. I would be more than happy to catch up with my friends again. That'd be great. Like I said, if you want to see any other of their stuff, obviously everything once again will be in the description link below. Always highly encouraged. Please check out their music. Please give them the love and support. They work really hard for it. Please check out their merch store because once again, love and support. Anything you can do, even a simple one single play of their song on Spotify, that's a penny to them. Like every penny earned is fantastic. But yeah, seriously, thank you guys so much for taking the time. 3 hours to do this.
Thank you.
It's been really cool. Hopefully we can do this again soon. And to anyone watching, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to After the Com and all other artists that is on Sound Off series as well. Because once again, without them, I would not be able to do this series. Make sure to sign that petition.
Yes.
And save our venues because we need it. We need it terribly. But until then, that's the end of this fun little chill session interview. Thank you guys so much for being here. And until next time, hopefully we get to talk to each other very soon.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Also, if you guys ever want to end up joining the Discord server as well, if you want me to keep you guys up to date with the charity, let me know. Or you can do it on Facebook too. Either way works.
We're super into helping out for stuff like that. We had even done a really cool, fun benefit show with Authority Zero one time, and that was for somebody's hospital bills for the cancer they were dealing with. But what was super cool is like a couple months afterwards, we got word that he beat it, man. He
Oh wow, that's awesome.
That was super cool. So yeah, we're always stoked to do stuff about that. But yeah, just keep us updated with any info. For sure.
Will do. All right. Thank you guys again.
Well, hey, man, that was a great time.